All right, it's Monday, December 19th. This is an end of the day SPY recap on the daily chart. We end up with another red day to the downside. It's below the midpoint of the prior day, closed near the lows. It ends up being the fifth red day in a row, and it gets to a point where as each successive red day occurs, how many more are you going to get in a row? But what you had going for you, at least for today, was the fact that you had the first day of the week, the big shooter red bar that you anticipated the low of that week would be taken out. I didn't know for sure if it would happen on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, through the week, but it ended up obviously happening on Monday. So in terms of just the structure of the day, we had the pre-market range here between the blue lines, and we were opening up near the low end of that range. First bar kind of paused, and then we started lower, so there was a bit of a sell signal. I shot a video showing, well, maybe today is the day that we're going to pause a little bit before continuing lower. And we got right up here, and that was the moment of truth. But then we immediately got this 2 down red bar, and I said, time to stay short. Either re-enter here or hold your original position. And we went down for the rest of the day. And in terms of targets on the weekly chart, the more I'm looking at it now, you see this next target here at the yellow line. And you see kind of 3 pivots very close to it. So it would seem logical we're heading down there to take out that area to start. Obviously, on the monthly chart, I'm still looking at the 2-up failure where we kind of hit the high of the previous month, reached to the midpoint of that month, and now, we could be heading to the low of that month as well, which is kind of the bottom of that. Out of the 3 pivots, it's the bottom pivot there would be the monthly target. So I would think we're heading there. I still wonder after 5 days in a row down how it's going to, the path it's going to take to get there. But at least what we have going for us now is we have the open of the week right here. I actually created a purple line out of it. So if we look here, it's kind of where the low of the pre-market range was. So this purple line now is the open of the week. So as long as we stay below there, we're going to stay biased to the downside. We're still going to need to see price action kind of hold below the midpoint of any given day, below the pre-market range to, really continue lower. But as long as we, hold below that open of today, then at least we keep the weekly bar red. If we end up going above that, that's fine in terms of, we might have a little bit of a turnaround Tuesday. Maybe we go above it. As long as we kind of hold the midpoint of that bar, at some point, I'm expecting a failure. It'll happen on the daily chart most likely if we start up a little bit, and then that'll be a good sign for a little rest, a little digestion of this strong move down, and then it could build up energy to head down there again. So until we really get a weekly reversal, which would be very tough to do by the end of this week, you'd have to get above the midpoint of that prior week. We might get one into next week if we barely, can't reach our target and then start up, who knows. But until we get a weekly reversal, all bias to the downside, but it gets trickier and trickier, in terms of a short-term exhaustion risk, the more down days in a row you get. So let's see what happens tomorrow. You're going to stay biased to the downside. Any up move, though, there's a bit of, if we can get a 2-up kind of bar here daily, there are some, gaps in here that could be filled. Maybe a rally of some kind that looks kind of strong. But to me, as long as we hold the midpoint of this big bar here, we'll eventually roll over again towards those targets. So let's see what happens tomorrow. But today it was kind of a little bit, tricky in terms of the opening 5 bars or so. But it was, always to the short side. And then you had the confirmation here, especially on bar number 5, and we had a nice move down, kind of, if you want to look at that, maybe the first push, orderly kind of consolidation, and then a whole nother push down. So see what happens tomorrow.